Hi everyone and welcome to Fresh from My Garden. In today's video, I'm going to share some basic garden tips which are really essential for us to grow a lot of varieties of plants and have them thriving in our garden. We have a small suburban garden with a variety of shade loving or indoor plants, different varieties of fruit trees, some vegetables, and also flowering plants. When we are growing many varieties of plants in the garden, we must know their sunlight requirements and watering requirements so that we can help them grow well and thrive in our garden. Our front porch is in the northwest side of our garden and it receives very little light during the day. And this is our front garden, which is facing west and receives a lot of sunlight during the afternoons and evenings. Watering the garden is one of the most important things that we do on a regular basis, and especially when the weather gets warmer, we need to water our plants almost every day. We water the front garden, that is the west facing garden, and the south side of our garden almost every day, especially during the summer months because it receives more direct sunlight and there is more evaporation from the soil as compared to the north side of our garden, which receives less direct sunlight and is watered only every other day. By looking at the leaves of the plant, also we can determine which plant requires to be watered every day because some of the plants, if they are not watered regularly and they cannot take the heat of the atmosphere, they will start to shrivel and start looking limp. And once they are watered, you can see that the plant looks really fresh and thriving. Using a good potting mixture and also the right kind of container for the plant is very important so that a plant thrives and grows well. As a standard potting mixture for many plants in our garden, we use a mixture of red soil, which is locally available in our area, with some cocoa peat and compost. Since we collect a lot of dried leaves from the garden, I also layer them in between the potting mix, and this will help the potting mixture stay light and aerated. The dried leaves will also break down to provide nutrition for the plants and will help the plants grow well. We compost our kitchen and garden waste so that we can add them to our plants for nutrition. And we also make an organic homemade fertilizer that uses cow dung, bone meal, and other organic matter, which we can water down and add to different plants in our garden. And that will help our garden thrive and grow well and produce a lot of fruits and vegetables. Another important thing when growing plants in our garden is as the plants start to grow and the soil is in the same container for extended period of time, you will see that the soil has started to settle down and get more compacted and not allowing the roots to spread out and grow well. When the soil gets compacted around the roots of the plant, you can see that there is stunted growth or no new growth on these plants. And at that time, we need to loosen up the top soil of the plants and make sure that there is more aeration around the roots of the plant. Also, remember to weed or pull out the weeds from the base of the plant because those weeds will suck any kind of nutrition that we provide for the plant. And instead of the plants taking up the nutrition, these weeds will soak up all that nutrition and start to grow. Once the top layer of the soil is loosened, add some composted mixture or organic manure and mix in with the top layer and immediately water these plants so that the roots get all the nutrition that is provided to them. Watering is best done during the early mornings because the soil will absorb all the moisture and stay hydrated throughout the day. But if we are watering during the evenings, make sure not to water the foliage because that will attract a lot of pests and other diseases. Pruning your plants regularly is another thing to do when we are gardening with different varieties of plants. We will see that there are a lot of dead leaves, dried up branches, and also infested leaves and branches of the plants, which we must prune and remove regularly so that they don't affect the rest of our plants. If we do not prune back the dried up branches and the dead leaves, that will not promote new growth on the plants. Pruning always helps to promote a lot of new growth on these plants and help our plants thrive well. So, these are some simple but important tips that we need to take care when we are growing different varieties of plants in our garden. Different plants have different requirements, but these are some of the basic things that we need to take care so that all our plants grow well. I hope you liked today's video. Thanks for watching Fresh from My Garden.